That's how we tune in professionally with all the different screens, making it look like we're pros.
You're pro.
Go smile.
Wearing this today for his mom. This was her shirt.
In honor of Mom, who was the queen of smiles. She and Robbie would have had such a good time together. The last month or so before Mom passed, I was sharing things with her about Robbie, and she was always so happy to hear of her and her love and her care for me. And I just wish they could have met in person. It would have been lovely. It would have been really lovely. So today, a year ago today, marks the time when I actually was there and watched as my mom accepted her final fate and took her last breaths. And it's really a dramatic time, and people think of it as a sad event. And in many respects, it brings tremendous release from the being. But just as birth, death is a really important time. And I think that in our society, what I learned from watching my mom and dad decline over many, many years is that people have a sense of that it's something to be feared. And I think in the very end, my mom finally realized that it wasn't. But for a long time, Mom and Dad both, as almost everyone, feared death rather than embracing the leap into this other world that everyone is given the opportunity to prepare for in this embodiment. We all have this opportunity before us to become familiar with the strains of consciousness that exist within us, but only appear full-blown in that quiet state of death or before life. You're still an individual, you're still a soul, you still have identity, even though you may not have a body. I don't know if many of us think about this very often, but if you think about the fact that if you close your eyes and fall asleep, and for those hours of sleep, you don't really, in all intents and purposes, have a body with you. You're living in another world. And very much, very similar to that is this state of death and the silence that is associated with that death. And so today I thought we'd spend some time honoring the memory of my mother and giving these mantras of Samadhi game, these affirmations of Samadhi game that affirm that place of stillness, that place of rest that exists within us all 24/7. That speaks to us, and that still small voice of conscience. That is the peace that passeth understanding, as they say in the Bible. It is the Samadhi, as they call it in the East. I wrote a book. Could you get that book for my mom? The book that, I think it's on the chest over there. I wrote in the last year or so, I think it was about a year before my mom passed, I took some of the mantras of Samadhi game, and because of the technology that we have such a great opportunity before us to share and give our gifts. And one of the gifts that I've been working on for my whole life, basically, is this path of Samadhi game, which I've put down in words in the Samadhi Game Manifesto of Enlightenment, which is a free download from samadhigame.com if you're interested at all. And I wanted Mom to have a memory of that. So I went on to iPhoto at the time, or it might have been Aperture, and collected a number of photos of Mom, and then put a bunch of the mantras, which have been changed so much since then. But I put a bunch of the mantras into it, and it created this beautiful book, which I wanted to show you. It's called Samadhi Smile, Mom. And I sent this to Mom and said, you know, Mom, if you can crack this book open as often as possible and look at it. I just put some pictures of her and I together. And I said, the smile of divine identity. The first chapter of Samadhi Game deals with your divine identity. And the mantras in there, the shadowless light of Samadhi, its feeling tone, are very, very much attuned to creating a stronger identity with this divinity that exists within you, this still small voice that we can all tune into. And when we stop, even if we accept the standard religions of the day, whether it be Christianity or Buddhism or Hinduism or whatever it is, all these paths have within it some point or some time when we take this stop and we pray and we meditate. And you feel that conscience arise in the heart, and you feel the blossoming of love in the heart. Well, Samadhi Game affirmations of divine identity in the first chapter of Samadhi Game deal with opening up this heart and allowing you to rest into this one place, this sanctified place, this holy place. So I put these mantras into the book and shared them with my mom. Gave her this book and asked her if she wouldn't mind reading them on a daily basis and to prepare herself, prayer of the Divine Feminine on this page here, but to prepare herself for the time that comes for all of us, to take our last breath and then give up this body. As our soul flies into the next realm of existence that is without time and space, but still identity remains. This is the rub. This is the place that no one can say, what's it like there? We're all wondering. And some of us think we know, and some of us guess. But really, it's a great mystery. And so we can approach that mystery and with a little bit of preparation and make it easier in the end. So these mantras in this book, given to my mom, I wanted to remember me. So, yeah, and my sister. My mom went through some horrific. I even barely want to show that picture of her, but it was horrific accidents and difficulties medically, and really went through a lot of turmoil in her last days.
That's beautiful.
And this is a beautiful picture of her. Let me see if I can get it here. There's a bluebird on my shoulder. It's a fact. It's natural. Everything is satisfactual. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-day. My, oh my, what a wonderful day. Plenty of sunshine coming my way. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-day. My mom, in those last months, loved to sing that song. And this was a picture taken in the elevator chambers, waiting for the elevator to come in her beautiful Oakhurst apartment in Beverly Hills. And whenever she'd walk in there and we'd be waiting for the elevator to arrive, she'd burst out. She'd stand over there next to that with the bluebird, and she'd burst out singing that song.
It was a painting of bluebirds on the wall, right?
It was a painting of a bluebird on the wall. And back in 2011, sometime early in 2011, I think it was in May, I posted this picture to Facebook, and Robbie responded and said something like, "He's a bluebird on my shoulder." Mm-hmm. It was beautiful. So Robbie's suffering today with a little bit of pain. Show them your...
it could be, I'm worth $1 million. I wonder if that cat has an insurance policy. I was assaulted by a cat. Really, I thought that I thought I did it good last night, but the flesh came out inside today.
It was pretty ugly this morning. You can see the picture of it on Facebook if you'd like.
Gag. But I think it was a war wound, so I had to document it.
We'll get to some of these mantras here in a second, but just to recap the events of last night.
Gregory was working on, a tribute to his mom and this and that, and we were watching Samadhi game, and we were watching TV, something. Oh, I know, The Mentalist. And then Dante was, I don't know, he was hungry or something, and he walks over and he goes, "Holy smoke, there's a snake in the house." And, he's such a prankster. We're like, yeah, right.
No, I believed him, and then as soon as he said that, Marlena started, guarding, because this is her home, and Marlena started taking to it.
And it was making like a rattle noise, a hissing noise.
Really hissing. And
Dante goes, "Let me take a picture."
So
I
Dante,
said, "Okay, go run and get the camera." And I picked Marlena up, and her back legs.
Despite the fact that I was saying, let Marlena have at that snake.
Well,
She's
what
having
if
fun.
it was
No, I knew it wasn't. I knew it was not a poisonous snake. And half of the reason was I didn't want anyone to touch Marlena, because I knew that Marlena was going to have her claws out. So, sorry, babe.
Yeah, last time I picked Marlena up and she gouged me right here because he was vacuuming.
But we have to go back, and on the good side of Marlena, we have to say
she's a great cat.
That the very first day that Robbie stepped foot in Sunny Mellow, Marlena also stepped foot in Sunny Mellow, and Marlena was being chased by another cat, and Marlena came up and actually jumped up into Robbie's arms, and while in a frightened state, jumped into her arms with no claws, and knew that Robbie was her friend, and so. Marlena knows that about you.
Sure.
So, it's just going to have to remember those moments.
I swear to God, I won't have a fingerprint on that one, for sure. Which, if I ever rob a bank, I'm just going to use a pinky. I have to get really good with that.
Yes, it really ripped that skin all the way open, all the way down the front of it.
The bone. Good one.
As my mom would do, she would, when something would be as bad as that, she'd take her fingers, hold these two fingers together, and she'd go like this. And she'd make that sound.
I used to be able to, not anymore.
So let's give some mantras. We've been speaking a little bit about Mom and about events. One last announcement. Samadhi Game has a brand new website. It's not brand new. It's just largely updated. SamadhiGame.com. Go check it out. It's sort of colorful and friendly, and there's a nice slideshow on the homepage of some concepts of enlightenment, and there's some, and I've changed it up a little bit. It's been a slideshow for a couple of years, but I changed that slideshow a little bit last night and put that up. And then there's pages where you can go to see the sample copy of Samadhi Game Manifesto of Enlightenment if you'd like to just see what it looks like. It's actually a really cool application called Issue, and it's available on the web. It's a very neat thing where you can upload your document, and then it's presented in a beautiful format. It looks like you're reading a book, the way the pages turn and everything. So,
you know that in Croatian, Isu means Jesus.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And then, and in India, they use a similar word too. Isha, I think, is what they. And then, of course, there's Krishna, and the story of Krishna is very much like the story of Jesus. Anyway, so there's other pages for downloading either a EPUB version of Samadhi Game, which you can put on your mobile device, especially iPhones, iPads, and has all sorts of functionality that a PDF doesn't have. And there's also a PDF you can download for your computer. Actually, the PDF works much better on a computer. The EPUB doesn't work so great on a computer. There's also links for contributing to Samadhi Game and the work that we're doing with Samadhi Game on an ongoing basis. It helps to cover the cost, at least sometimes, of the technology that we're using and the Ustream broadcast, which we're now paying a premium for, so you don't have any advertisements on these broadcasts. You can sit there and listen right through without looking at advertisements come up. Hopefully, if you see advertisements, let us know, because they shouldn't be there. All right, let's go to Samadhi game and give these mantras, which my mom gave in her last days, and I read to her at her bedside in her last days, as an addition to the psalm, which is the one.
20, Lord is my shepherd.
The Lord is my shepherd. I would alternate this Psalm 21, did you say? 23 with the mantras of Samadhi game, the affirmations. And it really helped her to calm and become peace. And when you read these mantras, we can read them in a tone that says calm, that says deep, that says profound, rather than just reading them as surface value words. And when we do that, we vibrate our own bodies with the words that we say. We write these words into our consciousness. We remind ourselves of the truth that lies at the core of our being, the truth that needs to be reminded on a day-to-day basis, so that we don't just become pawns of the dual human ego in this footstool kingdom of control and manipulation. So come on with us. Let's break free like my mom and all the happiness and joy of that inner truth. Let me get it all set up and lined up for you here. This is called the shadowless light of Samadhi. It's feeling, tone, and state of knowing. It's a great affirmation. We have a picture of Jesus. If you prefer another master, you can change that picture and make it different when you have your own copies established in your own word processors. We encourage you to download your copy of Samadhi Game, put it into your own word processor, and start working with it. And then come on, together. Let's say these words. When we say these words together, we create a resonance that is more powerful than we say them alone. So come on, together. Oh, glorious shadowless light of eternity, that brilliance of I Am Samadhi, shining in the void as 10,000 suns. Descend, 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 as the tangible substance of loving splendor, dazzling intelligence and palpable power, for all to absorb and identify with, as the full and only authority throughout the earth, the boundless treasure house of the universe, and our infinite I Am Samadhi, of scintillating fire and dazzling light, that I am. I release the power of mastery without limit now, revealing the self and flooding forth perfect miracles and all activities, bringing to pass the enlightenment of the ages, and letting every being on earth sense and surrender to the intimacy of this light. Everywhere, the fullness of this self expanding as love, wisdom, and joy forever. Now, great songs of praise and gratitude burst forth from the heart of humanity for that silent splendor poured out to all. Now, pure love flows forth from the heart of the secret love star, drenching the earth with the glory and ecstasy of golden pink liquid light. Now, the oneness of supreme love, wisdom, and blazing joy overwhelms this whirl of duality in its glowing orb of transmutation, reconciliation, and dominion, making of terror a smiling sun of everlasting, all-powerful, limitless light, casting no shadow, and in which only that absolute perfection can forever dwell. Now, I am limitless gifts of all good things, anointing the earth with abundance, healing, and happiness for all mankind. O presence of the shadowless light from out the great silence, we identify with thee now. I am the elation and exhilaration, freedom and liberation of this eternal experience and gnosis of Samadhi, its ecstatic hearing, blissful feeling, cosmic scent, sublime taste, and immaculate vision, holding all safely within that compassionate diamond heart forever. I intensify this feeling tone of I Am shadowless light, in acknowledgement, acceptance, and awareness, surrendered devotion and adoration for this state of knowing that, this all-pervading I Am Samadhi, the intelligence of the heart that is divine illumination. Here, in this blank, we say I, and then you can say a name for yourself. It can be your name, your given name, if you're really happy with that. But if you'd like to take that name and say something more dramatic about yourself, more largesse about yourself, something that you've been aching to be able to say about yourself and have hesitated to do it. Let me come back to us for just a second. Something that's something that takes you beyond the comfort level, maybe. Something that you can lean into. And, when you're leaning, you're not straight up and down. It's a little bit off balance. You lean into it. And that leaning into it is really good for us. To lean a little bit into that unknown. But say it. Take yourself there with these words by creating a name for yourself. Jesus took the name Christ. He said, I'll take the name Christ. I'll accept that I can hold that dominion. I can hold that power, that strength, that love of Christ. We can all take that appellation if we so choose. But he had a name, and he probably had a family name, Jesus of Nazareth. Did he have any other name, do you know?
Smith. Jesus Smith. I don't know what his last name was. Joseph of Arimathea.
Okay.
Jesus of Nazareth. Wasn't his father Joseph of Arimathea?
Yeah, yes, it was.
So maybe his name was Jesus Amaranth.
Maybe it was. And so we say the name. The name has power. To apply a name to yourself, it gives, or a name to anybody gives power or a certain vibration to that person. So we can change our vibration. We can change from socketed in a certain hold pattern of dual human ego, and we can try to lift ourselves out of it by giving ourselves another appellation. Enough, let's go on. I'll say my name, and you can say your name at the same time. I, the Ascended Master Gregory Donald Brinkley, living super yogi brilliance, am awake, as is, just as the Ascended Master Jesus. You can, whenever you see these words in gold, that's code for, say the master of your choice, please. The Ascended Master Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, Kuthumi, St. Francis. To this shadowless light, its feeling, tone, and state of knowing, that I am that never sleeps and enjoys all, now and forever. Your powerful affirmations of your true self. This is the self that goes beyond breath. We're going to come to a mantra in a little bit, and we're going to do a breathing exercise. Earlier in the broadcast, I was playing a piece of music from a lady. Her name is Anna Nalick. She did a piece called Breathe. And it just so happened that piece of music was happening at the very instant that my mom was taking her last breaths. This music was swelling up. Breathe. Oh, just breathe. And my mom took a big breath just as the music hit that rhythmic note. And then she lost her breath. And she didn't breathe for another minute or two, and we thought she had passed. And then the music rounded about again to come again to another chorus of breathe, just breathe. And she was still in the room, and she took another breath. And we all gasped because we thought she had already gone. And that was her last breath. Actually, I think they call that Cheyne-Stokes breathing when they do that. But it was interesting, and this rhythmic music bringing the breath into cadence with sound. It was beautiful. We'll breathe a little bit later. Let's do another mantra. This is a pillar of light, the pillar of the world. And this mantra is intended to strengthen the auric sheath about you. In the Chinese, they say the Wei Qi. It's the Qi. It's the energetic energy around your body. And by putting our attention upon it and affirming it, it becomes more powerful. It becomes thicker. It becomes more dynamic. It actually becomes more real. Let's go ahead and give this mantra together. Opening pillar of light, the pillar of the world. Sublime I am Samadhi that I am, enfolding me now in that mighty, magic, electronic pillar of cosmic light substance. My identification with its magnificent humility and thoughtful creativity, so powerful and complete, that I artfully and magically alter every polarity with healing unity. Within this majestic pillar of light blazes that love as the violet compassionate flame, in, through, and around my etheric, mental, emotional, and physical bodies, effortlessly dissolving, consuming, transmuting, and reconciling the dualities of my human ego, charging my world and all I contact with the tangible substance, living awareness, and conscious activity, the presence and superconscious samadhi of all enlightened beings, liberated and ascended masters, seeing, feeling, and hearing this light as it shines, radiates, and resonates within me as a visible pillar of the world, stabilized, supported, and sustained by the brilliant, elegant One, and infinitely sensitive to that invulnerable state of divine I Am Samadhi. Om, which is to say, Amen. Om, and the last one, Amen. Amen. And to finish off the mantra, eternity is my home. I do all that is necessary to actualize this ever-fresh realization and organize my life around it. Eternity is my home. I do all that is necessary to actualize this ever-fresh realization and organize my life around it. Eternity is my home. I do all that is necessary to actualize this ever-fresh realization and organize my life around it. It's kind of what your body looks like right there in that picture when you have all of this light streaming around you, this Wei Qi, this prana as they call it in the East, vitality as they call it in Europe, in the great healing schools of Europe, the natural healing schools, very much like the natural healing schools of India or China, dealing with hot and cold and herbs, trying to develop that light around the body to such an extent that it has actually a protective effect, like a glass window that would keep out the outside and keep in the warmth of the inside. We can establish this Wei Qi about us by giving the mantra. You know, in those last days for Mom, I was in contact with Robbie very closely and had tremendous comfort and given to me by this sweet loved one here. And Mom had really just not understood how to let go of the body, and so we studied the chakras, which is a study in all of the paths of enlightenment, whether they be traditional religions, East and West, all around. Every religion has some understanding of these centers within the body that are focuses of consciousness, and how our identity gets caught in these focuses of consciousness, in the duality that spins around them, rather than being able to be free in this core light. In the medical society has a picture of the staff with the caduceus swirling around it, the caduceus meaning the yin and the yang of our bodies, this duality whirling. And this staff is like this central core of being, the I amness that we speak of day by day. Moses spoke of it as I am that I am. It was the burning bush. It was the fire of enlightenment, of the shining void that would shine so brightly it looked like flame to him. And it can to anyone, actually. And so my mom had gotten caught in some of these chakras, and it was important that we figure out how to free her from those in her last days. And there was just a simple passing over of the hands in the last days, helping that energy to reassess itself and to move up through this core of being and out through the little spot in the top of the head, little trap door in the top of the head. It goes out into infinity, that place in the center of the skull called Golgotha, that cave of Brahman, as they call it in the East. As we quiet ourselves and come into that stillness, And you can feel yourself entering into that peace that passeth understanding. And so just by little sweeps of the hands, it helped my mom to release. And in the last day, and Robbie helped me with that study and that understanding, and helped my mom in that way. We all need that help. We all need to understand in our last days where we're going, how we're preparing for this next realm, and have the courage to move through it and let go of those dual human egos. Chapter 2 of Samadhi Game deals with the dual human ego. It puts us in intimate contact with this duality, helps us to structure our idea of this duality, which is as ephemeral and as whirling as a hurricane. So we can see it very clearly for what it is, rather than have it just in an unconscious way. We become very conscious of it. And that process of becoming conscious of duality is often a painful process, because it means becoming aware of something that we had generally accepted as a fait accompli. And as we become aware of the duality, we become aware of the nuance of our stuckness, and it becomes embarrassing and anxiety forming and fearful. So we have chapter 1 to reinforce that divine identity, which is always joy, always happy, always in that place of samadhi, that peace that passeth understanding. We identify more and more with that in chapter 1. In these broadcasts, we give some mantras, but I really encourage everyone to give a number of the mantras at a sitting, rather than just a few like we do in the broadcast. And then we kind of fill it in with a little bit of fun talk and understanding of the day. And we also fill it in with some just instruction in how this whole cosmology of Samadhi Game fits together as a whole, and how it fits together not only in Samadhi Game with every world religion and with every path of enlightenment, so there becomes this meshing of gears all throughout. Because Samadhi Game is a world-changing work, if I don't say so myself. But it can change the world as people accept the understandings that are written into it. Let's go on and give another mantra from Samadhi Game. Heartfelt, tangible samadhi. Taking in this feeling of samadhi, this peace that passeth understanding in our hearts, and really accelerating it with our conscious attention. So let's go together. O Great Spirit, O Mighty I Am Samadhi at the center of all creation, radiant with illuminating fire, O heartfelt parent of all sons and sons, pour forth that life-giving power, fan the spark of that divinity on the altar of my heart. Amplify and magnify this spark by the fire breath of the whole I Spirit, into the potent God flame that I am. O the shimmering fountain of life, that I hear, feel, smell, taste, and see within me. Just for a moment, this idea of being able to hear, feel, smell, taste, and see this fountain of life has to do with this idea of going within. The 7 candlesticks, the sounds of trumpets and drums and bangles, and all that's written in all of the great scriptures and revelation. And we sit with and we hear the movement of this prana, and we can see it in our mind's eye, and we can feel it as it courses through the veins. So it becomes a tangible samadhi. It becomes a tangible contact with almightiness within you. I choose this constant cascade of liquid light, actively receiving its shimmering directive radiance, tangibly and powerfully manifest in my experience. I open the innermost temple of love within this evident, celestial cosmic fire. I manifest that life and light for our healing and regeneration, letting the breath, height,
fullness, and crown of the solar radiance of the
sun behind the sun appear. I stand forth, Revealed in and through me is the neutral witness that Christos, Krishna, Buddha, Allah, Pharaoh, Monarch, Divine Mother, Father, Sun, conscious awareness. We affirm this universal Christ, Krishna, Buddha, Allah, Pharaoh, Monarch, Divine Mother, Father, Son, conscious awareness. We affirm it because we want to put an end to this I'm better than you consciousness that has gone on so long on this planet. We know the way to God, not you, consciousness that's gone on so long on this planet. Everyone has a path that leads them to the goal of God consciousness. We're all wondering how to get there. Why not honor the structural similarities between each of these paths? Each one of them uses the same magical formulas of meditation and concentration and focus and dedication and devotion, so that we can find our way to that still, silent voice within the heart of conscience that opens us up to a greater expression of that gift given, gone, that we are here to give away, each as an individual Christ, Buddha. That's an affirmation.
Sorry. I can't imagine.
Which device is it coming from? So we'll give now.
Okay, I have to.
We'll continue on. I am the visible, audible, and tangible flame of eternal life, breathing and scintillating prana-chi from the source to the root of my being. Liquid rays of light flooding my chakras, seated upon their lotus thrones of love. Molten gold of enlightenment, shivering its ascension up my spine, crowning my awareness with the diamond rays of attainment. Now here, this section of Samadhi game, starting with I am the visible, audible, and tangible flame of eternal life, breathing the scintillating prana-chi from the source to the root of my being. This prana-chi from the source above your head, down, through, all the way down, breathing in, all the way down to the root, down to the perineum of your torso. Just visualize that breath as it comes all the way down. This in-breath is this nourishment that comes in with every breath. We're given life. We absorb prana from the atmosphere, but it circulates throughout the entire body. So down the front side of the body as we breathe in. And as you breathe out, you can clench the perineum a little bit in a kegel, and you can feel that shiver up the spine. This is a meditation that's been used east and west. In so many of the great traditions, it allows us to breathe in at alpha, omega, alpha, thrust, and breathe out. Breathe in the omega, the nourishment, mother, God, omega. And breathing out through this alpha to silence. And another way is to complete the circuit, place the tongue at the roof of the mouth, this open cavity on the front side of the body. So as you breathe in, this current of life has an easier pathway down the front side of the body. We call this the Saga breath. And I have a little meditation here, if you'd like to read it as we breathe. This is the meditation on Saga breath. And we'll just go ahead and breathe, and I'll let you read. Breathing out, follow the exhale up the spine to the top of the head. And breathing in, soften the front side of the body and follow the inhalation down to the perineum. Breathing out, tightening the perineum ever so softly with the idea of it trampolining the breath up on its return to the spine. And feel the charge of the breath gently shivering itself up to the crown. Breathing in, becoming familiar with the path of the breath's charge. Using the fingers of the breath to scan the front side of the body for tensions. Massaging them into relaxation and openness with the mind's eye of the breath. Breathing out, allowing the shiver that might have been imagined at first to show itself as a current felt up the spine to the top of the head, while anticipating the peace of silence, nothing, and shining void. Breathing in, feeling the sparkle of gold and pink, healing love and regeneration, proceeding down the front side of the body in complete connection of all that is. Breathing out, acquiescing to the zero of God, letting go to the presence I am. Breathing in, loved completely in the tangible that of all things. Breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in. Let's just take a few more breaths. And with this breath, you can also use the breath, sort of breathe through the back side of the palate, the back side of the nasal passages, and make it sound as though it's a wave coming in and receding on the shoreline. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. This breath is the most primal dynamic of life that we have. It says to us the most primal duality to which we are bound. This desire to stay body bound in this breath. I must breathe, otherwise I lose who I am, is the greatest illusion that we all face in this embodiment. Being able to break that illusion by consciously watching the breath and saying, okay, I see this breath, but it's not who I am. Who I am is beyond breath. It is the Sushumna that resides in the center of being, the I amness, that is me, uniquely me forever and ever, which is, was, and is to come, the Almighty. I am that I am. This is the idea of this breath. And for those who practice it, if you will remember even yourself, as you've found yourself in deep, deep prayer, your breath has become more and more refined until you're barely breathing at all. Because at the ends of the breath, at the end of the exhalation and the beginning of the inhalation, we have these moments. We have these moments when there's silence and stillness. And so we're having a little, if we lose you on this broadcast, we'll come back. We'll be here again. But it looks like we have a bandwidth problem going on here. So just if you lose you, we'll come right back as soon as possible to the broadcast. So stay with us. Stay with us. Let me just notify for a moment. Good. I think we might be able to continue the broadcast. Robbie had an important phone call on the Skype, and that was accepting. It was creating a little bit more demand for bandwidth than we had, but I think that the broadcast should be back to normal now. So I wanted to. We're discussing this breathing in and this breathing out, and the silence, the points at the top and the bottom of the breath, where it almost becomes breathless. And that is the moment that we all struggle with. That is the moment where we say, how can we live that way? And so it's the rub. It's the great question mark of life. How do we pull that silence, that still small voice into embodiment? We have to listen to it. It's like as though we're getting like we've traveled to France and now we're in France and we have the advantage of being able to listen to people speak French all the time, so we begin to know the language. The same thing as we attend to this still small voice in spirit, we begin to hear the voice of spirit speaking. We begin to have the discernment of spirits. So let's continue on with this mantra now. As the white fire being of my heart, I dynamically emanate and transmit this audible, tangible, fragrant, delectable, and visible substance of living samadhi as creativity and direction. I am a sun in the palace of the shining void, this temple a glistening world of infinite space, the process of my transformations, sounding the melodies, harmonies, and rhythms of the great solar symphony. I am the dazzling flame of life, here and now, because I am nowhere else but everywhere forever. I am Samadhi's palpable joy, tactile glory, and felt perfection of boundless being. I am that, I am that, I am that. I am, and here you can say that same name that we said earlier, if you can remember what it was, or you can make up a new one. A name for yourself. I am, for instance, the Ascended Master, Gregory Donald Brinkley, living super yogi brilliance. I am the Ascended Master, Gregory Donald Brinkley, living super yogi brilliance. I am the Ascended Master, Gregory Donald Brinkley, living super yogi brilliance. Where? In embodiment, in embodiment, in embodiment. I am oneness lived. This very primal, this very structural foundation of being, the I amness, and it's surrounding the need for it to be surrounded by the yin and the yang of existence, all the frequencies of existence that only exist in yin and yang. In Alpha and Omega, I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, saith the Lord, which is, was, and is to come, the Almighty. And so out of oneness comes this two, these two, to create all that we see all around us. Everything. Out of oneness, these two. And so we can affirm within ourselves this affirmation of the power of the Alpha within us, this exhalation into infinity. Let's go ahead and say it together. O sacred masculine essence of my eternal being, Holy One in my core, I am that I am. I am that divine masculinity within me now. I am the will of that King Goody consciousness being done. I am the unchanging awareness of each moment, the natural spaciousness of each instant. On earth that I am, even as I am that in heaven. This sacred, tangible silence, death to my ego, source of my sustenance. This radiant gift of love, heart of my purpose, the Dharma freely given to all. This shining void of stillness consumes every temptation of duality. This presence of samadhi dispels all cross-currents of the human ego. I am transfiguration's total surrender, forgiveness, and reconciliation. I am resurrection's focus of wisdom and power. I am the absolute cooperation with the inevitable, ascension's expanding glory of eternal victory. All this freedom, forevermore, I am. Om, peace, amen, I am. Om, peace, amen, I am. Om, peace, amen, I am. And we can move directly into the affirmation and prayer of the Divine Feminine, the direct and connected fullness of beauty and forgiving grace. This is a prayer very much like the Hail Mary, if you will. It's just a little bit more broad in understanding, and probably a little bit more current in its understanding. Together, I am the Divine Feminine, the direct and connected fullness of beauty and forgiving grace, with me now in the intuition, dance, and relations of my heart, chalicing the hallowed vision, purpose, and paradigm of the Golden Age dawning. Blessed queens of Buddhic, angelic, and Christic realms, Kuan Yin, Green Tara, Holy Mary, Pallas Athena, Parvati, Sarasvati, Lakshmi. You can see that these names are barely, you can see it, but there's a little yellow tint around them. That means that you don't have to say these names if you don't want to. You could say just Mother Mary if you wanted to, or you could say Jane Doe down the street if you'd like. Someone who's really inspired you, a feminine being. But we'll say these together: Kuan Yin, Green Tara, Holy Mary, O Pallas Athena, Parvati, Sarasvati, and Lakshmi, because they're images that have been brought forth in all the major religions, and even the Greek panthology, O Pallas Athena, of this archetype of femininity, this strong, beautiful, loving, caring, nourishing, abundant woman that she and we are. And let's say it together: whom I am. Here are calls for compassion, wholeness, and the manifest oneness in the flesh. And now here, we're taking the time to formulate your intention, your prayer. It can be an abstract prayer. Something like, "Oh dear Lord, dear great divine Mother, I pray for thou intercession that brings greater love, greater wholeness, greater peace to the planet." That's rather abstract. Or it could be specific and could say, "Dear Mother, great divine one, please bless this planet with peace in Syria, peace in America, with deep understanding in our representatives and our president, that they may make the right decisions and not lead us down a pathway of warring, when so many other options are still to be had, to be used. Please, O Divine Mother, grace us with peace on this planet, with harmony in our families, with love and joy shared between people, with financial security for all, rather than the destruction and discord of war." That would be specifically. Now you can see as though this intention were already manifest. Pretend as though your prayer, whether it be abstract or concrete, is already done. Because in the divine sense, there is no time and space, and it is already done. That's where we have to learn how to translate the already doneness into this realm of not already done. It's already done. Just pretend for a moment, how good it is. How good it feels to have it already done. Now mint this intention, this vision that you have in 3D, as though, yes, it's a coin now. I can feel it. I can feel the peace and the harmony and the joy and the security and the abundance raining down upon this planet. Oh, how good it is. And you can put this coin in your pocket if you like, using your imagination to put it there. And you can feel the relief of that coin pressing itself against your thigh through the pant pocket. And you can reach down there anytime during the day and reimagine that coin there, already done. Or you can throw that coin into this fountain of life that swirls and dances all about you. This fountain, much like a fountain outside your favorite Chinese restaurant, where you toss the coin in with a wish. How good it is. How good it is. And then together, guide us, intensify our path, the direct and connected fullness of beauty and forgiving grace, the manifest experience of healing and truth, and the mastery, liberation, and triumph of enlightenment. I am the cradled babe of eternity, safe in the bosom of omnipresence. I am the cradled babe of eternity, safe in the bosom of omnipresence. I am the cradled babe of eternity, safe in the bosom of omnipresence. So we've taken the masculine portion, which was a rework of the Our Father, if you hadn't kind of figured that out. And we took the rework of the Hail Mary, the feminine prayer, and we sort of wove them together. And if you were sitting alone and wanted to really weave this masculine and feminine energy, you could say them both again and again and again and again, and just keep coming back to it again and again, and weaving this rosary of light and love and silence and zero together. This caduceus, this duality, this primal duality that structures all of creation. Let's go now to a mantra that can indeed and does do just that in one place. This is nothing's silence, sounding light. It is the natural outcome of this yin and the yang swirling through your body, this place in each chakra. Come on, together. I am zero, the great yang, the vast silence, the undisturbed stillness, radiating an antakarana of oneness, the sounding of love alone, the essence of life and light, strength, courage, beauty, and perfection. I am nothing silence, I am sounding light, I am whole and universe, luminous golden white. I am nothing silence, I am sounding light, I am whole and universe, luminous golden white. I am nothing silence, I am sounding light, I am whole and universe, luminous golden white. In the stillness within, existence I am births to an active great yin radiance, spreading throughout the vastness. I am conscious silence, stalwart I command, stoic inspiration, I am God in man. I am conscious silence, stalwart I command, stoic inspiration, I am God in man. I am conscious silence, stalwart I command, stoic inspiration, I am God in man. Louder and louder the great mother I am, muses, inspires, hums, and sings songs of new life, a glad music of my heart. I am sacred rhythm, my keynote harmony, this melody is truth, the light held high and free. I am sacred rhythm, my keynote harmony, this melody is truth, the light held high and free. I am sacred rhythm, my keynote harmony, this melody is truth, the light held high and free. Born now anew, I receive and I accept this Christos, Krishna, Buddha, Allah, Pharaoh, Monarch, Divine Mother, Father, Son, conscious awareness. Seven ultra sacred, flaming paraclete, my forehead now emblazoned, I am come complete. Seven ultra sacred, flaming paraclete, my forehead now emblazoned, I am come complete. Seven ultra sacred, flaming paraclete, my forehead now emblazoned, I am come complete. And so we've woven these two currents together with this mantra. And we reminded ourselves of these primal forces, these beautiful primal forces. Rather than just waking up, putting breakfast on the table, running out the door to work, coming back exhausted, clicking on the television, lying there lifeless, and then going to bed with the idea that tomorrow is just going to be another one of those days. We remind ourselves of how grand and glorious is this life, how magnificent is this drama of the dual human ego that we can play with. We're given, and we must indulge in it. So why not indulge with full enlightenment? Chapter 2 of Samadhi Game deals with the structuring of this dual human ego in such a way that it becomes clear what it is. Chapter 3 is an acceleration of both our divine identity and this structured awareness of the dual human ego, so we can begin to melt in the momentum of its understanding, melt consciousness and create what we will with it, rather than just being the slave of these ongoing momentums of being caught in it. We begin to melt it, and that melting process is often sometimes uncomfortable, because all of the anchors and foundations that we once lived upon begin to shake away, and something new must emerge. We must find a new way of footing ourselves in this new platform of identity, of eternity. And when we do that, all that old substance comes up and we go, whoa, this is difficult. But in actuality, it's blessing. So don't shy away. It's like it's Jesus in his Garden of Gethsemane, when everything was melting, everything was shifting, everything was changing, and he had to hold in prayer in that moment to that I amness. I am that I am. And so goes Samadhi game. See if there's any more that we need to do here. Let's give this last mantra. I think this is your favorite mantra in the book. The radiant circle of healing love and the art of life in liquid white light. Why is it that you like this mantra?
It protects you.
Oftentimes when we begin to live into the I amness that we are, not only do we have difficulty getting our new footing, but the people around us who used to know us as someone who lived on that old dual human ego footing begin to question who you are. And when you say who you are, it confronts their dual human ego, because who you are at your core is really pretty much the same as who they are at their core. And it sort of throws down the gauntlet and says, hey, look I'm this person who is eternal being, was, is, and forevermore shall be. And they're saying, but no, you have to abide by the old commandments of duality and live in the footstool kingdom and let people control and manipulate you. And only one Son of God can say that, for God's sakes. How dare you? And so this mantra puts sort of a circle of light around you, which gives a little bit of buffer to that type of response from the world at large. So let's go and give this radiant circle of healing love. O radiant circle of healing love and the art of life in liquid white light, encircle me now, encircle me now, encircle me now. I am this loving splendor encircling me now. I am this living prana chi encircling me now. I am this liquid crystal fire encircling me now. I am this samadhi encircling me now. This I radiate, 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 as the active intelligence of powerful conscious volition that I am. I govern this exhaustless energy and precipitate all things into form of those who come under the radiation of this, my radiant circle of healing love and the art of life and liquid white light, including Robert Carhart and all others that are part of this broadcast that have not signed in, that are watching in stealth because they just want to do it that way. We bless you and love you and circle you as well. All of our families, the Frank family, the Brinkley family, the Carhart family, and all of those joining us on the broadcast today, and all of those who will join the broadcast from the archived versions, which are always available 24/7 on Ustream, on all of our websites, the SamadhiGame.com website, the Samadhi Game Tribe Facebook website. It's there as well. And on the Ustream Samadhi Game login website. It's all there, always there. All of these shows, so you can listen to them again, have them playing in the background and helping to condition your mind to the new reality of who you really are. And together, I ignite and I expand the illuminating center within their bodies, emotions, and minds into that active, perfect, and eternal garment of enlightenment. O radiant circle of healing love and the art of life and liquid white light, that I am, instantly bring healing to and make art of all dual human ego in my world, opening wide the door of my heart to the ineffable, divine and present existence and expression and expansion. I am the wide open door of my heart, flooding forth the radiant circle of healing love and the art of life and liquid white light, the enchanting essence of my electronic body, and I am Samadhi. I balance, blaze, and dazzle a threefold activity of my heart's Samadhi. Ennobling love, wisdom, and power encircles me, now and forever bringing healing to and making art of every dual human ego activity, freeing me to leap into divine union with the source of these, the shining three. I am the mighty, magic, electromagnetic circle of invincible liquid love, light, and life substance, instantly transmuting and harmonizing, healing and making a heart of every discordance or distraction which seeks to enter or intrude itself, masquerading as the I am me. I am the self-sustaining perfection of my world, enfolded in the radiant circle of healing love and the art of life and liquid white light. The Samadhi that I am, I remain. Vanish the veils of light and shade. I abide in the shining truth of divine law and the justice of eternity. I am the lake of kindness, free of disturbing conditions inner and outer. Om, which is to say Amen. Om, sounding that soundless sound. Om, the word which was in and was, is, and is to come, the Almighty. I am commanding all therapies within this, the inner magic of my radiant circle of healing love, to be revealed with the art of life and liquid white light of Samadhi, the all-pervading, serene and harmonizing bliss. And now a picture of Buddha, one of the many Buddhas. You are a Buddha. You are a Christ. You may sit like this. Artists may paint you in your lotus posture, in your prayer attitude, in your haloed existence. You. I am, I am, I am. So thank you for joining us. Today has been a day of honoring and remembering the last breaths of my mother, and of her teaching to me in this embodiment, her audacity, her bodiness, her life force that stood forth and said, I will enjoy and give forth beauty in my life. She was a real character. To the very last days, she held to that image that she was gonna work it as long as she could. And so we've taken in this idea of how we can prepare for that, so it doesn't have to be such a difficult transition, but it can be a little easier when we know, or we have some idea of where we're going. Into the silence, into the bliss, into the I am that I am, into eternity, into freedom, into joy ineffable. And we culture that, day by day, culturing it, percentage by percentage, changing our identity from duality to the neutral witness, which is another way of saying the Christ, Krishna, Buddha, Allah, Pharaoh, Monarch, Divine Mother, Father, Son, conscious awareness, the neutral witness to all. And by the time we pass, our consciousness is firmly situated there, and we just go, it was nice. Thank you. See you on the other side.
See you on the other side. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Whenever it happens for us all. And then the whole drama, this whole thing of death, can be associated with other deaths. Paul said, I die daily. We have to be able to let go of everything and sit in that truth that you know within your heart. That's what Jesus taught. That's what Buddha taught. What a great, great teaching. Thank you for joining us in Samadhi Game. We'll be here again on Wednesday morning for the music meditation at 7 a.m. and 8:30 a.m. for the beginning of processing. Join us again as we delve into the secrets, the mysteries of the universe, the mysteries of life and death, unfolded before our very eyes. Great, and have a wonderful day. And we'll leave you with music. This is the music, this is the playlist that my mom listened to as she was passing. These beautiful songs. Okay, here it is. Just has a moment before it can start playing its song. It has to gear itself up. Have a good day.
A while ago, faced with some obstacles that I wrote a song. Well, it's more of a prayer. And I'll give you the first few lines, and then Neil Larson on the Hammond B3 and the Webb Sisters will unfold the song. If it be your will that I speak no more, and my voice be still as it was before, I will speak no more. I shall abide until I am spoken for, if it be your will. If it be your will that a voice be true, from this broken hill I will sing to you. From this broken hill all your praises they shall ring. If it be your will to let me sing.
Speak no more, and my voice be still as it was before. I will speak no more. I shall abide until I am spoken for, if it be your will. If it be your will that a voice be true, from this broken hill I will sing to you. Broken hill, all your praises they shall ring. If it be your will to let me sing. If it be your will, if there is a choice, let the rivers fill, let the hills rejoice, let your mercy spill on all these burning hearts in hell. If it be your will to make us well, and draw us near, oh, bind us tight, oh, your children here, in the rags of this night, if it be your will. Oh, if it be your will. If it be your will.
Addie and Charlie Webb, the Sublime Webb Sisters. Neil Larson on the Hammond B3.
There we go.